What jobs will probably never be automated?
I'm a lifeguard. Robots have a hard time swimming and doing basic first aid, and if there was a robot it would probably be more expensive than paying a bunch of teenagers minimum wage.
At first it might be more expensive, because of the R&D involved. But once they're perfected.
Nice try. Millennial looking for job security, no job security for you.
Truthfully, if we make it through the automation of trucking, fast food, and administrative assistant roles, we should have all the kinks worked out for robots eventually getting good enough for everything else. These concerning points are like half the job market, and will probably be done by robots within 5 years. Whereas it'll be a few more decades for them to be doctors.
AI will overtake robotics in the near future, and because of capitalism, high-paying jobs will be replaced first. I hate to say it, but thinking professions like lawyers, doctors, and engineers are going to get hit hard very soon.
Jobs where interaction with a human is wanted as part of the experience. There will always be people who will want that even if robots or AI can do anything.
Priests, prostitutes, and politicians.
I don't know, you might be wrong about the prostitutes part. Sex robots everywhere.
I wonder if that won't be as common in a mostly automated world, though. I mean, if you grow up surrounded by automation and robotics, then you'd be used to it, and wouldn't question it. Someone walking into a store, for example, and wanting to talk to a human might be seen as strange.
There are already lines at the self-checkout, and actual cashiers looking on nervously.
I'm a commercial plumber/steam fitter, and I have a hard time picturing robots doing the installations that I have to do.
I think the trades will be safe for a very long time, but I think they're ultimately bound for automation, by virtue of how complicated they all can be. But, like I said, I think it will take a long while before that can occur.
As a hairdresser, I can tell you that would be one big disaster if someone tried to automate it.
Can't be any worse than some of the awful haircuts I've gotten.
I'm a stylist too. I think unless everyone starts wearing wigs, we're pretty safe. Even if a robot could generate the same look, our clients love to gossip and vent. The human interaction is an important part of going to the salon.
Airplane pilot. People would be too afraid to fly without a pilot.
I work in collision repair/auto body. No robot will ever be able to do my job. Advertising art director and copywriter. Film director. Director of photography. Stylist/wardrobe. Props master. Lots of other roles in the creative industries. Also, investigative journalist.
In this thread, everybody thinks their job is so complicated, and that an AI won't ever be able to perfectly simulate human interactions. No job is safe. An AI doesn't even have to be perfect, just better than the average human professional. That's a really low criteria most of the time.
Doesn't even have to be better, really just has to be either faster, cheaper, more efficiently, as long as the quality doesn't drop from going to bots. Machines can replace it.
Nursing. The combination of physical and intellectual challenges and unpredictability make it very difficult to automate.
Yes, and no. Certainly robots won't replace nurses anytime soon, but technology can certainly decrease the need for as many nurses. I can currently video chat into a nurse practitioner at my doctor's office to go over minor medical problems, and can get a diagnosis and a prescription without leaving my living room. This doesn't cover everything, but that nurse can potentially fly through 15 to 30 calls a day for easy stuff compared to a handful of people coming to the office. Similar things are happening in surgery too, where doctors are performing surgeries with robotic arms from different rooms, or off-site altogether.
Police.
Let's hope RoboCop wasn't a prophecy.
I'm okay with RoboCop being a prophecy, as long as RoboCop 3 isn't a prophecy. I'm a control system integrator. We design, create, and implement custom automation. It would be pretty hard to automate that.
Anything with active athletes.
I would watch the hell out of robotic football.
Kindergarten teacher. AI can't teach empathy, independence, problem solving among other humans, and confidence.
Childcare.
Why not? It can't be that hard. Program a robot that makes sure children don't get themselves killed.
Child 432, you will. Look at this iPad.
I work in automation, on the physical side of things, and in my opinion, every job could be automated, and almost all will be automated to an extent, but sometimes, you still want an element of human interaction, or input. Jobs that I think will still involve a human to some extent for the foreseeable future: customer service. If I have to talk to an automated system with no sympathy when I'm already unhappy, which, if I'm calling customer service, I am far more likely to simply move to a competitor's service, and I don't think I'm alone in that. Fine dining, when I go out for a nice dinner, interacting with the service staff is part of the experience. When I stop at a fast food place, I couldn't care less. The food would feel less valuable to me if a robot prepared it. I want to feel like I'm paying for a human expert to be making food in a way that's slightly unique every time. I don't want my $100 meal to be robotically prepared like a microwave TV dinner, and I am willing to pay extra for that. Criminal law. I think a lot of rote legal proceedings, copyright, real estate, etc., will be highly automated within a few years, with the lawyers handling only the tricky stuff, but criminal law involves convincing a jury as much as being technically correct. Art. I think this is fairly obvious. Childcare. Some functions of childcare can be automated, but I doubt parents are ready to entrust their child to a robot with no supervising human, even if it is demonstrably safe. Automation doesn't always involve wheeling in a robot and saying,
"Hey, this robot is replacing you, you're laid off."
Usually, it involves an automated system vastly increasing the productivity of an existing worker, eliminating the need for new workers. Example, I program coordinate measuring machines, CMM, which are robots that measure precision machined parts. To measure a typical small widget by hand might take me 20 to 30 minutes. Or I can spend half an hour programming the CMM to inspect that widget in 2 minutes, saving 18 to 28 every time. I didn't put myself out of a job, because someone still has to run the CMM, usually, but I have eliminated the need for extra inspectors. It's my experience that on an industrial level, anything that is repeatable, predictable, and reasonably frequent, e.g. as a full-time worker assigned to it, is a candidate for automation.
Software engineering. Computers only understand ones and zeros. So humans make human-readable languages to instruct computers to do what we think is useful or fun for other fellow humans.
Except that AI is essentially software engineering. It takes new data and rewrites its own software.
Yeah. But the system around that AI is still made by a human. A human says, "I want some program to solve this problem," in a manner better understood by humans. AIs don't turn on your computer while you sleep and change their own code, only their behavior during runtime, which is what they were made to do.
Customer service jobs, because complaining to a robot would be like talking to a wall, and probably nothing would get solved.
Sounds perfect. Valid complaints get instant help, and baseless ones thrown out. Besides, it's already partly automated for many companies as it stands.
Mental health counseling is an inexact science at this point.
Just have a loop that repeats.
And how do you feel about that? Have you tried turning yourself off and back on again? This human can't even initiate a simple reboot. Send them to the recycling yard for processing.
Would add robot repairer. Engineers in general, partly because they are always improving things, or inventing new things. Would add janitors, housekeepers, maids, babysitters, childcare providers, and gardeners. While you may be able to automate low-cost jobs, it isn't cost-effective to do so, as there is always an oversupply of unskilled workers. And add salespeople. Some things aren't going to sell themselves, like timeshares.
Technical support, consultation, engaged education, health support, and advice, repair/mechanics, sales jobs, etc. Anything that requires assessing a complex situation, troubleshooting/diagnosing an issue, or opportunity, and then attempting to resolve/exploit it will remain unautomated for a long time.
The answer is absolutely nothing. Everything about humans, ultimately, is over a long enough time frame, engineerable. Our intelligence, our movement style, our ability to be creative, our intuition for how things work. These all exist in nature, out of the standard elements of our universe, and are ultimately replicatable. There's no humanness property to matter as much as we'd like to think there's some magical specialness about us. Each and every type of labor will ultimately be doable by sufficiently advanced machines, and at most we're talking centuries until that point, and maybe substantially less. That doesn't make human life pointless, quite the opposite. It means we can work on projects as we see fit, without worrying too much about basic resource constraints. Sure, you could ask an AI to write a book that's amazing in a given genre, and it will be done in milliseconds. But much like people enjoy making things now even when there's no commercial reason, I suspect people will write, make chairs, explore areas, talk, spend time, etc. Our current mode of life is actually a bit of an aberration. While we always labored, this artificial, family-separating labor has historically been pretty rare. Once we've automated everything, we can return to, honestly, far more natural patterns of living, while having all the benefits of modern technology. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and ring the notification bell.